This is Sybert signing into Kane's Wrath on the map Hampstead Gardens for Game 1 of the quarterfinals highlights from Mirrors Only 3. I'll explain all of that in just a moment, but kicking it off in the north, playing the purple, this is Rex. And in the south, playing the yellow, this is Buka. Both players will be playing Zocom, and then I believe they will be playing Marked of Kane, and then they will be playing Reaper 17. Welcome to Mirrors Only 3. This is the follow-up to Mirrors Only 2, which of course was the sequel to Mirrors Only 1, which is a mirror match only event that is run by Gwaspari. He's done 3 of them now, so he's actually hit all 9 factions and sub-factions now that this event has concluded. And yes, I am a little bit late to the party with this one, but, we're going to check out the semis and the finals in their entirety, and we're going to take a look at the quarterfinals, but only the good games. So we'll just, I'm taking the bullet for this one. This is going to be an edited video, and we might be keeping score, we might not. This is a best of 5. I guess if we start keeping score, then it means the games were pretty good, but we might just end up skipping a lot of the games if they aren't particularly good in the quarterfinals. However, I have had some games recommended to me, and they weren't actually by the players playing the games or by Gwaspari, so it was someone else who saw the games and were like, whoa, this is something that you should check out. So at the very least, there are some good games here, and we are on a hunt to find them. All that to say, if you're one of those people who always comments about how much you don't like mirror matchups, not the tournament for you. Just tune out now. There's lots of other things to watch. And yeah, this is just not the event for you to check out. It is all mirror matchups all the time for this event, which I am a big fan of. I love having events that force players to do something a little bit different. No one's forcing them to sign up. Everyone agrees to the rules at the beginning. And it's nice to have an event that has, a $200 prize pool, a little bit of money on the line, and it's just a little bit different. All of the other events, most events, don't have rules like this, and I think that's a good thing, but I also think it's a good thing to occasionally have events where you do change the rules, you make them a little bit goofy. Maybe the map pool is something that's slightly unorthodox. I think it's good to have that stuff every once in a while. If it was happening all of the time, maybe it would be annoying. But in this case, it's one event, and here it is. Zocom mirror matchup is first. So far, things are looking pretty darn normal. This could be just about any matchup in Kane's Wrath. 2 players, macro-oriented openers for both. I guess this barracks, if we do the APC rocket thing that a lot of GDI players do, where you get 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 APCs with rockets, and you go out perusing the map looking for potential angles or damage. In this case, Buka actually going for Pred tanks right out of the gate. It is still a 4 refinery opening. Lots of harvesters. Both players are up to plus 12k in income, plus 13 per minute. And they are in lockstep. It's a mirror matchup, and these two seem very equal opponents. Rex has been performing quite well in the second half of 2023. 2013, boy oh boy, we almost stepped back a whole decade. 2023, so maybe as the game goes on, the difference in skill will show, but for the current moment, you could hardly tell a difference between these 2 players. Light harassment, light engagements going on for both players, and EMP Control Center will be grabbed by Rex, so that is one nice advantage. This Pitbull getting a couple of shots off will be able to tag these harvesters, and one last shot from a Predator tank or from a Zocom rocket harvester will clean up that Pitbull, and it will be no more for this world. I mean, as soon as he steps into the range of the rocket harvesters, he's dead. That's one of the things about Zocom. You get those rocket harvesters. No, they don't do very much damage, but yes, they do damage. And here we go. Airfield is up. AP ammo is about to be done. Double airfield for Buka. Single airfield for Rex. And it is going to actually be into armory. So we have comp armor coming in. We have Tiberium field suits, rather, not actually composite armor. That's the GDI vanilla version of it. But in this case, it is going to be, I assume, yeah, we already have ceramic armor for our hammerheads. Could also go for Zorkas or Firehawks. Zocom Orcas, as long as the targets are sitting still, they do phenomenal damage, as you're probably already aware. And if the targets aren't sitting still, they do phenomenal missing. And so we'll see. And here we go, because Rex seemingly is caught almost completely unawares here. He does have some pit bulls. He does have a number of rockets, but honestly, a couple of rockets are not a difficult thing for ceramic armor hammerheads to deal with. And Buka wants to deny that EMP control center. Nicely done there. That's one of those things that can destroy an entire field of hammerheads. If you get that EMP in just the right spot, good night to those hammerheads. And the other threat to Buka's hammerheads is going to be either Firehawks, or if we get into the Space Command uplink kind of place, then it will be that supersonic airstrike, which can be quite deadly for hammerheads if they do not dodge. And the rockets are going to be set upon, completely annihilated. 3 rockets get fired off at this swarm of hammerheads. Very unfortunate there for Rex. Slingshots are now here. They're being driven away by this combination of Predator tanks and hammerheads. Buka is bringing the pain to Rex, and Rex doesn't seem to be ready for it. Maybe if another 2 minutes had passed, Rex would be prepared, but Rex is getting bopped here by Buka. He needs some kind of defense. It is going to be tungsten shells. It is going to be an AA battery coming in, and it will be Orcas here to respond to the Predator tanks. They will be able to clean up 3 of the Predator tanks, leaving 2 Preds remaining. Not much lays here, and the airfield does go down, which means those Orcas have nowhere to refuel. And these hammerheads, if they can find an angle into this base, it will be very difficult to stop. But pretty much everything is sewn up tight with these hammerhead, these anti-air batteries, and these are hammerhead killers. Tungsten shell in combination with ceramic armor makes it kind of a weird proposition, because you have armor, you have damage boost against armor boost. And I'm not sure what the winner is in that case. If this Orca strike gets these boys on the deck. No, they lift off of the deck just in time. That almost was devastating. I don't know that I've ever seen a Zorka strike land on an airfield full of units before. I'm not sure what exactly happens. But that is another Marv cancel. Rex, 2 Marv attempts, 2 Marvs canceled by Buka, controlling the pace of the game here. EMP grenades have not been purchased, and this Marv has 4 Zone Raiders in it, 0 engineers. You better pack something along to give this guy healing, otherwise he is going to be dead before very long. And the Orcas may have to refuel, but the Harvesters won't be given an opportunity to return to work there. Slingshot's going to be chasing away these hammerheads. Buka taking a double expand, blocking the MCV of Rex, trying to get to his 3rd base, and Rex is just getting run around the map. However, he does have the slingshot, so at least the hammerheads are not getting free damage everywhere that they go. This Marv can just push in here. I'm not actually sure why Buka isn't moving in with that Marv. Well, he almost doesn't need to, because this is a triple sonic emitter, and Rex has no response to any of it. Okay, double sonic emitter will respond to this Marv. The Marv goes up to single vet, and the hammerheads are now here to support as that anti-air batteries get eliminated by the Marv. The power plants are now exposed, and it's going to be the GG as Rex has been defeated, and Buka, with a solid macro build, just comes out and bops Rex. That was not a particularly good game from Rex, but that was a great showing from Buka. And we're now on the other side of the bracket. You know what this is. It's another Zocom mirror in the north, playing the green. This is Eclipse. And on the south side, playing the cyan, this is Futurama. Mirror matchup, of course. And it's another quarterfinals best of 5. Futurama and Eclipse, which I just realized that Eclipse's name is actually kind of misspelled. In-game, he apparently spells it LL. And I didn't know this until quite recently. Different Eclipse than the Eclipse years ago. 2 different Eclipses. I just assumed that they were the same player, but nope. 2 different Eclipses. So the current day Eclipse is different than the Eclipse from like 5-10 years ago, whenever it was that the other Eclipse was playing. But yeah, we are into what is looking like another macro-oriented Zocom mirror here on Hampstead Gardens once again. Eclipse and Futurama looking very similar to Rex and Booka for the first minute or 2 of the game. We'll see, you know, maybe they do a little bit something different, but, you know, Zocom is not some kind of faction with, like, crazy variability most of the time. You're gonna get some normal GDI stuff, you're gonna get some aircraft, you're gonna try and rely on that aircraft. And I mean, in this case, it is nice because you don't have a situation where, if, like, it's Zocom versus GDI, you really want to stop the game from getting to the Juggernaut place if you're the Zocom player, because it's hard to contend with those Juggernauts when you don't have them yourself. But if you get into a position where you can be able to jump on those Juggernauts, you're able to keep the slingshot numbers down or whatever, then you can contend that late game as Zocom, but you kind of have to work into a position where you are okay fighting the late game as Zocom. But when it's a Zocom mirror, we don't have to worry about any of that. There is no worries about the fact that you don't have Juggernauts, because neither one of you has that ground-based artillery. It's all about using your aircraft as artillery. And yeah, so far, it is very mirrored. Yeah, even their refinery timings, it is as close to even as you can get. They're both overdrawn on power, 72 out of 72, and then they both come out of that low power mode at almost the exact same time. It is so delightfully, perfectly mirrored between these two that there hardly is a difference between them. Again, very similar to the first couple of minutes of Booka versus Rex. Although the EMP Control Center has not been captured in the middle of the map. A couple of pit bulls, couple of APCs, and yep, it is rocket APCs on both sides. And it looks like 2 pit bulls have gone down on the Eclipse's side, 2 pit bulls on Futurama's side. Although Futurama does pick up a 3rd pit bull kill right at the end there, and it is unanswered. So, woo, that's the big difference. Eclipse loses 3 pit bulls, and Futurama loses 2 pit bulls, but then takes a lot of damage on some pit bulls. So, oh, Futurama multi-MCV, sub 5 minutes multi-MCV, and this is going to be towards a 3rd base play. Harvester does get tagged down to about half health. Oh, a much better hit on the south side. Eclipse really nailing Futurama's Harvester there with those Zorkas. And the result is that Harvester is very low on health. It is going to be more pit bulls and more APCs moving in. Eclipse looking for the kill, looking for the damage. We'll see if he's actually able to sneak in there. And a couple of pit bulls, he could just dive on this Harvester. It's low on health. Tier 3 is up, which means so sonic emitters are a potential to be deployed either here or on the front line. With that multi-MCV build, you've got the potential of 2 sonic emitters getting deployed at the same time. Sonic Emitter gets a decent shot off. 3 APCs exploding in short order, but 3 Harvesters go down in this moment as well. And another Harvester coming back to fight the good fight. Futurama says, I will not go quietly into the night. This Harvester is here to fight, and it's going to be Firehawks coming in from across the map. Double airfield, 1 with Orcas, 1 with at least a couple of Firehawks. It looks like 3 or 4 Firehawks are here, and it's going to be a dead Conyard unless he drops an engineer to save this. These Firehawk bombing runs will eventually whittle down this MCV, and that will be down to just 1 Conyard for our friend Futurama, and nope, that's it. Zorkas come in, they're going to get some good damage on that Reclamator Hub. The build radius is basically gone from this base, and the double MCV advantage no longer exists. Meanwhile, it's going to be a couple of hammerheads from Futurama trying to respond. They're going to be able to get at least one of these orcas on the deck as that Firehawk switches to an anti-air payout loadout and will be able to kill off that hammerhead. Marv deploys from the Eclipse side. No Marv yet from the Futurama side, but that hammerhead going on the offense for Futurama means that the attacks on the Reclamator Hub have stopped. Futurama is going to try and get out a Marv on the left side of the map, and if he can take this base on the right side of the map, then he will be able to do the classic Marvest while you harvest. One side of the map you're Marvesting, and the other side you are harvesting, and that is both players' exact idea. Marv moments away from coming out. Zorka just misses its opportunity. There's the sound cue, and there is the Marv stepping out. Engineer? Nope, it's going to be a Zone Raider coming on out. So this is Marv v Marv, Zone Raider v Zone Raider, but soon a second Zone Raider will step into that Marv for Futurama. It's going to be Engineer, Engineer after that. So 2 Zone Raiders, 2 Engineers inside of that Marv. Firehawks moving out down to the south side of the map. Both of these players very active with their ground and their air forces from Eclipse and Futurama, and it looks like Eclipse will win that fight between the Firehawks. He gets the kill there, but Futurama is going to be winning this Marvesting war on the west side of the map. Meanwhile, Eclipse, in theory, is winning this field, but he can't actually safely harvest from that field. Orca Strike going to be coming in. Might be a little bit too soon, but we'll see. Harvester number 1 will go down. The Sonic Emitter is putting some big damage out, and that Zorka Strike will completely miss the Harvesters. But of course, it does tag that field, that refinery quite nicely. Double Zone Raider, double Marv for double Zone Raider, double Engineer for both of those Marvs, and that is every Harvester going down. I don't know what that was from Eclipse. He completely missed the fact that every Harvester was dying. Rifleman shows up. I'm not sure who shot first, but whoever shot the Zocom Orca, that's who the real winner is. Another Harvester going to be going down. Eclipse's economy is about to fall apart here, as unfortunately for Eclipse, he might be losing his MCV and gets the surprise on the MCV of Futurama. So good night to that MCV as the Sonic Emitter gets deployed, and that will be it for that MCV. Gets the perfect catch there. But it's Marv v Marv, and they both have a little bit of support here. These Zocom Orcas keep firing their first shot so wide, and I think it's just going to be a trade of a Marv for a Marv in effect. The Riflemen get their last shots, but it's the Rockets who get their kill. That Marv does go down, one of those Rockets going golden, and yes, the MCV has died, but Eclipse has not backed away from this spot. More aircraft getting eliminated here. Futurama has rebuilt his MCV. He has lost now both of his MCVs. He has built a third MCV, and these Pitbulls are going to get the Firehawk one way or the other. They get it on the ground or they get it in the sky, and that's going to be the sell-off of the airfield by Futurama. Both of these players scrapping it out to the last second. Their Marvs fighting tooth and nail, both of them ending in mutually assured destruction. Harvesters harassed on both sides, and that was a funny funny watchtower build and sell there. And go for the tier 3. Yeah, Firehawks come in. Tier 3 is down below half health. It loses that laser fence as well. And Futurama on the other side of the map loses his tier 3, so he just presses in. He says, I'm going all out. I'm just going to try and break down the front door. He's got that heroic rocket squad. He's got a couple of Predator tanks, some of them pretty low on health as well, versus a Sonic Emitter. And maybe if the lights go out, he has an opportunity to take down that Sonic Emitter, but it will be well well managed by Eclipse. Both of these players still going to be fighting over this field on the right side. The only main Tiberium field is still active on this map, or still with a lot of Tiberium, still a healthy field on this map. Sonic Emitter gets deployed. Sonic Emitter goes down. A power plant being placed to body block for this tier 3, which buys time for the Sonic Emitter, but will it buy enough time, as the Sonic Emitter is moments away from finishing, and that tier 3 is just moments too late in being killed off. Whatever was killed, whatever was built, was deployed over there on the right side of the map. The MCV gets sold off. The power plants are not going to be long for this world. That engineer hoping that he can avoid detection here as the Predators go up the hill. The Zorkas come in on the other side. The Firehawks as well. They take down the War Factory. Both of these players with so little left in this game. The Predator tanks hoping to close in on this airfield of Eclipse, and the Harvesters as well getting any shots that they can as they retreat for those repairs. Eclipse with so little back here to defend, but Futurama is attacking with equally a tiny amount of army. This rifleman could just head. No, he didn't sell off the watchtower, so he doesn't get the rifleman from it. On the front line, Eclipse is getting beaten back. Futurama does have to overcome those watchtowers, but Eclipse has at least made his home safe back there. He still has control of his main. He still has his airfield. That is his hope to stand up against Futurama. And Futurama, as long as he can hold on to the harvesting rights for this field, the game will become easy from here. One player with an economy versus one player without an economy. It's not a difficult game to win from there. APCs on the front line. Bread tanks as well, chipping away at that refinery. There's 3 power plants that can be killed off once these watchtowers are broken, and Eclipse is just going to be long-distance harvesting until he can deploy this MCV and get a new refinery up. We've gone from basically the heights of the GDI, or the Zocom, arsenal down to the lowest points. We're back to tier 1 for both players. Watchtowers, riflemen, pred tanks, and APCs duking it out, but it's Firehawks that still remain, just constantly bombing down the base of Futurama, and you have to give it to Eclipse, never giving up, never giving in, and his Firehawks will all make it back home. He's got a couple of hammerheads, as long as he can jump on the APCs. And there are 4 or 5 APCs, so that's difficult to jump on all 4 or 5 of them at once. Hammerheads come in. They're going to be able to target down at least one of the APCs. Second APC does go down, and a third is very low on health, but more reinforcements are coming in. And Eclipse, he just needed a little bit more to be able to take this game, but he just doesn't have it. He's running out of gas in the tank. And I love the consistent bombings from the Firehawks all throughout this game. It seemed like he had those Firehawks running around the map doing so much, but the time is running out. Futurama and Eclipse starting out with a very normal Zocom mirror here in the beginning, and they mirrored each other for so much of this game until it all came crashing down for Eclipse. And I mean, unless he can pull something truly amazing out at the last second, that is going to be it. He's trying to get up another airfield, but I'm not sure what his plan is beyond build the airfield, because he has no ground army to stop this invasion. And of course, Futurama does have an MCV poised over on the left side of the map, ready to take another field and ready to extend his economic lead. Eclipse, really competitive for the first couple of minutes. Zorka Strike comes in, cleans up an APC, and this is double watchtower on the other side of a once laser-fenced Conyard. And that's one of those things where if he had had some kind of a ground army or even more of an air army to clean up these units, maybe his MCV could have bought time, but it of course is not going to happen. It is not meant to be, and that will do it for this game. Eclipse takes the L against Futurama. And now we're on Tiberium Rift for the Traveler 59 mirror. I was wrong. It's not Reaper 17. It's Traveler 59. But playing the blue, this is Buka. Woo! This is one of those maps with that extra zoom level. You can go very, very close. If you've ever wanted to see what a harvester looks like that close, well, now you know. Okay, on the south side, this playing the purple is Rex going for that descent rush. Look at those little guys. Anyways, yeah, so it is blue versus purple. Unfortunately, there's a bug with the recolor mod, so it doesn't work on all maps, which is why the first game between these two guys, it was purple versus yellow, and now it's blue versus purple because they played it as blue versus purple, which for things like descents is going to be kind of annoying to tell the difference. A lot of these units are difficult to tell the difference between them, and we'll just do the best that we can because we can't do anything about it. Although Double Evil is working on a fix for it, so hopefully in the future the recolor will work correctly on all maps. But yeah, blue versus purple, buckle up because we are stuck with this. Hopefully it'll work on other maps if it's needed, other matchups. Descents are going to be able to jump on the Gunwalkers. No, they will not. They do not get the kill on that first Gunwalker, so they take a lot of damage before they ever get their first kill, and Buka gets the complete perfect shutdown there. I mean, technically, he lost one Gunwalker, but that was as close to a perfect shutdown as you could really ask for from Buka. So he will have Ravagers to deal with. Okay, he keeps the nerve center, he keeps the stasis chamber. This is not what I was expecting out from Rex. I have no idea how he is going to deal with these Gunwalkers with Ravagers, but let's find out. The answer is run away. Just run away. This refinery is still low power mode. Both of these guys out of cash. Rex out of cash in a bad spot, but he's got out two Ravagers. They're crossing the map, just galloping across the map. And Rex, I assume, is going to have to sell off some of these buildings. He is not so far, so we will see what he manages to do. Refinery takes massive damage there. The power plant is going to try and body block for that, and you've got until the Tiberium Agitation ability resets on these Ravagers. That's how much time you have to heal that refinery back up from the damage that they just did. On the other side of the map, it does look like Buka has backed off. Rex has scared him enough with these Ravagers that he has backed off. He has stopped his attack, and that's a portal, a buzzer hive, and a power plant all being brought in to block these Ravagers from that attack. Honestly, it would be nice if Rex managed to sneak back into the base, or he had been able to sneak around down to the south side of the map and go for the attack on that second refinery, or on a second refinery down here. He could have gotten at least some more damage done with his Ravagers. It looks like you need 3, maybe 4 Ravagers to be able to one-shot a refinery. I think it's probably like 3.5 Ravagers, that kind of thing, where a 4th Ravager does enough damage to technically overkill it. But you can't really have 3.5 Ravagers, so in this case, you get the 4 Ravagers, and then you do get the one shot on that refinery. Could be useful as the game goes on. Gunwalker going to get easily overwhelmed here. Unfortunately for Rex, no winning that particular fight. And we do have a couple of Corruptors here. Not sure what the plan is for Rex. He goes for Corruptors kind of earlier than you would typically expect. Maybe he's going to have some dev tanks coming out. Typically, you do get those dev tanks first, and then Corruptors to follow up if you're going that route. But we will see what is going to pop out of that war factory. And it is another Harvester, so he's going to want something to deal with these Gunwalkers. And for the current moment, he has Corruptors. On the other side of the map, it's going to be another Extractor getting attacked. No, it'll be the Harvester that actually gets sniped. The Harvester does go down. The Extractor takes a decent chunk of damage, but not all the way down to 0. And it's going to be Corruptors and Gunwalkers to deal with this attack. And Rex will be able to push this away. One power plant does get eliminated, and now the Gunwalkers should disengage, and the Corruptor should disengage as well. Okay, he does get one more kill before disengaging, and the buzzers do go down in the north. Power is back online for Rex. Buka moves out with a couple of Mechapeds onto the front line, and Rex is just waiting down here in the south. He has got these Ravagers, and they are ready to go. Mastermind, or Prodigy, is here. Another Harvester does go down. The Refinery doesn't get tagged, and the Ravagers might be able to jump on that. Mastermind blinks away. That Prodigy's so low on health now, but he is still around. A couple of Mechapeds swarming around the natural expansion, and the Prodigy does get sniped. The Ravagers commit all the way in for the attack on the other side, and they dive deep into enemy territory, and now they're going to be going for the Harvesters. Ravagers from Rex managing to do some damage, do some harassment. Temporal Wormhole comes in to slow everything down, and it will be the Mechapeds trying to harass that get really slowed down the most. Finally, the Ravagers will be cleaned up. The Gunwalkers have had enough of these Ravagers, and they do go down. At least Rex did try. Prodigy teleports some cultists to the front lines, and the cultists are going to try and tag at least one of those Mechapeds to turn it over to the Rex side of things. But Buka versus Rex, they're both leaning into this Traveler 59 comp very much. And Area Mind Control only grabs one of the Mechapeds. Might actually get killed off, yeah, before it returns to Buka's control. Always annoying when the Area Mind Control does result in a kill like that. You lose control of your unit temporarily, and then it does die before you can get it back. Rex going pretty heavy into the infantry. He won't be able to grab those because they get blinked away to the other side of the map. Good use of the Prodigy there, and it's going to be a Temporal Wormhole to the other side of the map. The Tier 3 gets grabbed, and the Tier 3 gets sold off by Buka. The Wormhole across the map, and of course, when both players are playing Traveler 59, you can, of course, just do that on the other side, which is why Buka has this Buzzer Hive here as well. 2 Buzzer Hives right near where his tech and where his Eradicator Hexapod will be coming out. About a quarter of the way done on that Eradicator Hexapod. Lightning Spike still hasn't been dealt with. Rex is going to have to find some way to deal with that, and this Harvester running for its life away from these cultists. 2 cultist squads on the front line. They can grab a tripod and grab this Harvester at the same time. The tripod running away. Tripod does get saved by the perfect body block by that Buzzer Hive, and that is a Buzzer Hive that was so perfectly placed and timed, you could almost not ask for anything better. Eradicator is out on the field now. Tier 3 has been rebuilt, and the cultists do get jumped on. They do get overwhelmed, but the ones that have grabbed the Harvester actually managed to escape to the north side. So that is a Harvester full of Tiberium that is going to return to Rex's base. And finally, that fully heroic Buzzer Squad will be eliminated. Too bad for that Buzzer Squad. Too bad for Buka. Rex versus Buka. Rex really leaning into the infantry side of things. Buka leaning into just typical Traveler 59 things. And now that he has that Eradicator, he is pretty well set up for the late game. The Eradicator has no units inside of it. Okay, that's kind of curious. Nothing on the inside to give it any kind of boost or ability. Even if you just stick the Prodigy in there so that it has its own blink controls, and you don't just have to use your Prodigy for an outside blink. You know, it's always nice to have that teleport option on the front lines. Harvester getting sent for, I guess, the blue Tiberium. And hey, when your opponent... And the MCV gets grabbed. The Prodigy goes for the cap back. And that's one of those things that, try as you might, you always have to be worried about your opponent doing the same thing to you. Ravagers coming out from the blue side. Buka with his own Ravagers trying to make their way to the front line. And this Harvester getting sent somewhere by Rex. But now it's just going back to its new home. The MCV gets capped and sold off. Fortunately, Buka has a gravity stabilizer. If he did not, that would be a huge problem for him. But he's got one, and Rex on the other side of the map doesn't have a gravity stabilizer. So if the favor is returned, if a wormhole opens up and this drone ship gets captured, that is going to be it for Rex in terms of building anything new. He can, of course, always try and steal his opponent's drone ship, as we have already seen, but he doesn't have a gravity stabilizer to be able to produce his own. So he does need to get that tricky play to be able to, he does need to be able to pull off that tricky play to be able to come back from losing an MCV. No third base yet for either player. Obviously, we saw Buka try and get that third base a couple of minutes ago, but Rex denied it, and now Rex is looking to get a third base, but he hasn't actually moved his drone ship over there. He's completely out of cash on his main and his natural expansion, so he kind of has to be looking towards that third base, but he hasn't made the move yet. Looks like it's 3 shock troopers inside of the Eradicator for Rex, and it's going to be 3 Ravagers inside of the Eradicator for Buka. So I'm not sure. I don't know that I've ever seen an Eradicator with Ravagers inside of it, but this is, I guess, a first for me. And maybe I've seen an Eradicator with 1 Ravager inside, but I've never seen a full triple Ravagered Eradicator like that. Buka's Prodigy going to be running away from a single Gunwalker. I mean, it's easy to mind control 1 Gunwalker, and the Gunwalker needs 1 more shot to kill that Prodigy. Lightning Spike comes in. Lightning Spike gets a shot, but it's not enough. And then, just in time, the Corruptor comes in. There's the mind control that we were all expecting. And this Ravager is, Eradicator Hexbot is guarding this field. It's going to be the War of the Prodigies, but it is going to be a full health Prodigy on both sides. Buka not letting that almost mistake actually go through. He did not actually lose his Prodigy, but he will have to respond to this army that Rex is bringing up. He's going to use the blink from that Eradicator Hexpod. He's going for the cultists. He's trying to clean them up. One of the cultist squads doesn't have anything under mind control. The other 2 will be getting some free kills off for Rex. And always annoying to have to kill your own units. Is he gonna? He's not gonna get the tier 3. Surely the pack will be able to deal with these units before they actually die. And okay, yeah, last unit will go down. Tier 3 does survive. Almost a bad situation there for Buka, but Rex did not manage to get the kill. And this is so many Harvesters lined up waiting to refine that Tiberium, but just unable to actually do it. Prodigy heading back home for the current moment. Signal transmitter is now here, so we could actually be seeing a wormhole come out from Rex. He was a little bit late on that signal transmitter compared to Buka, but what can you do? His entire expansion philosophy was late in this game, and both of these players evening up in this game. They started out a little bit different, and then they have caught up to each other. And now with that signal transmitter, it's looking very similar. There's the tier 3 capture, and it's going to cost the Prodigy its life. This other Prodigy escaping once again. Barely any HP on that Prodigy as we clip out of the map. And everything else will go down. The Corruptors that Rex brought along get eliminated, and this Prodigy now needs to go get repaired by that War Factory and he'll get healed back up to full health. This is a decent number of tripods moving out from Rex. A couple more. Buzzer Swarm support power gets called in, and Buka saves his Mechapeds. Nicely done there, denying that mind control, and he will regain control of his units. This third is just not meant to be for Buka. Every time he takes it, disaster strikes. He loses his MCV. A bunch of tripods come in and start bullying him around. Any way you want to look at it, he has had trouble with this third base. On the other hand, Rex, he has got 100,000 harvesters and only one refinery for all of them to go to work at. And it's going to be a split army situation for Rex. I assume he's rebuilding his Prodigy somewhere out on the map. Okay, yeah, the Prodigy did just get rebuilt. And no, it's not going to be a split army situation because Buka turns his army north, and that will give Rex time to reposition the fight of the Prodigies once again. And one Corruptor down, a second Corruptor going to go down? Nope. Okay, it gets returned to the side of Rex, and now it will get healed back up. So one Corruptor went down from that area mind control, and a second Corruptor almost got eliminated. But Buka and Rex both going ham with the teleportation, with the mind control, with the Prodigy, trying to do as much chaos to their opponent as possible. And Rex now has multiple MCVs, so even if one of them does get capped, he will be fine. Buzzer does go for the scout. Buka doing a good job of keeping eyes on his opponent. Prodigy goes for the blink, trying to get around that buzzer hive, and he's trying to go, dodging those buzzers barely, and gets out of range. Might have to kind of settle for the signal transmitter. Blinks away to the other side, gets the cell on the signal transmitter, and the shock troopers will get the kill on that Prodigy. Rex unable to keep his Prodigy alive, and is this going to be ground versus air? Buka went into the packs, into the Devastator warships from an earlier point of view and from an earlier time, and he's had that air advantage, but there's a lot more on the ground from Rex. Both of these players almost exactly equal on income. Buka 150k, Rex 146k. Very similar amounts of total resources gathered, and a lot of that we are seeing represented in their armies. Very high value units from the side of both. There's going to be the wormhole out to the other side of the map. In the middle, it's going to be the tier 3. Once again gets captured, once again gets sold off. And there's going to be two Gunwalkers teleported in, and the blink away from the Prodigy. The great heist, always the danger when you're going up against a Traveler player. You have to worry about that Prodigy backdooring into your base, capturing your stuff, and it's going to be a high chase into the corner. Nice blink, trying to utilize the edge of the map as much as possible, running to that edge to gain as much distance, and then blinking away when the units close in, and it is now going to be completely stuck. Well, you had a good run, Prodigy, but it wasn't meant to last. Oh, the lightning spike. That is what Buka has deployed over there. And yeah, these packs, they are extremely expensive. Devastator warships aren't cheap either. And packs are one of the very few tier 4 units in the game, since you need the gravity stabilizer and you also need that signal transmitter. But they are quite powerful. In the right situation, they will absolutely shred your opponent, and we'll see if Rex can deal with them quickly enough. He's got mostly just Gunwalkers. He doesn't have Storm Riders. If he had 8 Storm Riders, sometimes that's enough to deal with them. I'm not sure. When it's 5 or 6 packs like this, I'm not sure what the numbers say. And that scouting buzzer squad will get cleaned up. 7 packs. Is he producing another? Yeah, 8 packs out on the field for Buka. So when you see that 172k, a lot of that is going into packs. They are expensive and slow to produce. Ooh, that's splash damage. That almost killed the signal transmitter and the power plant there. Gunwalker's going to be walking in tripods as well, going for a kill on a couple of these harvesters here. 2 harvesters will go down, and that's almost for free. Trading a couple of Gunwalkers for the harvesters, that is no big deal at all. And yeah, when these big powerful units are set to auto attack and you get a lightning spike right next to a building, the splash damage can be devastating to your own units. Oh, and the Prodigy gets sniped right from the front there on the front line. Rex hoping his Prodigy would survive, and then it just gets eliminated at a moment's notice. New Prodigy almost certainly is on the way now from Rex. Rex, 24K. I wasn't even looking at his current income or his current bank account. He's at 24K banked. He can remax a lot of this army if he has enough time, but I assume he just wants to spend that money now. Blink back by that area mind control, misses the Mechapede, and now the Mechapede can try and dodge, rush forward. This is, of course, an area a mind-controlled Mechapede anyways, so killing it off doesn't hurt Rex at all. Buka, significantly less mind control usage than Rex. Rex has been using the cultists for pretty much the entirety of the game, and Rex is going to try this 2-pronged army thing once again. Earlier on in this game, it seemed like his army got split up somewhat unintentionally. But in this case, it is just that the fact that he wants to operate his army this way. Eradicator Hexapod on the front line. Gunwalker's leading the charge. Tripod's going to be moving forward as well. You don't need a ton of harvesters at this stage of the game, and the Eradicator Hexapod will be phased here. Gunwalker's getting kills on a couple of these planetary assault carrier drones. And area mind control comes in. Tripod will be turned over to the side of Rex for just a minute there. Not long enough to really make a difference in this game. And the EMP on this Eradicator Hexapod, we'll see if once the phase wears off, if that Eradicator can escape, maybe a teleport away courtesy of that Prodigy. And no, it does not have time. The Eradicator goes down, and Buka controls the epic unit count of this game. But can he stop this army? Can he stop this force from coming forward? Drone ship does actually get fully deployed, and that's going to be the first plasma missile battery deployed, and that will be the only plasma missile battery deployed, because this is so many packs from Buka and so many Devastator warships as well that he can just overwhelm an MCV in a moment, and he cares not about a single anti-air missile defense. And this will be a slow field as well deployed by Buka. He is tearing Rex apart, and Rex has massively underestimated the power of these packs. A lot of the drones have gone down, but there's so many packs that it's hard to kill everything off at once. Gunwalker's walking in, and now the ground army of Buka has arrived. Rex unable to deal with the air armada, unable to deal with the ground army, and the two of them together are extremely hard to put down. But Buka does not want to end the game here. He backs off. He's worried about a base race. He's worried about a counterattack, and so he is going to move south, keeping an equal foot with Rex. Rex still 17K in the bank, plus 10K per minute. I assume that number is going to start dwindling, but Rex still has a decent field there in the north, his natural expansion to fall back on and get a decent amount of money back into his bank account as he starts spending his bank. Buka will have to hold some kind of base. I guess he can lose this base, actually. He just needs to stop the bleeding. He can't really lose anything more than this frontline base. If he does, it starts to get problematic for the rebuild, and he does not have a lot of cash to remake this army. Everything pushes forward. Buka doing a very good job of keeping his army together, not letting it get sectioned off and destroyed. Drone ship gets teleported away, going to be saved from the power of the air armada of Buka. And Rex's tripods, they might just kind of get caught out in the open here. Only one plasma missile battery, not enough versus the army of Buka. Second plasma missile battery comes in. Plaques are turning their attention to the forces of Rex. Eradicator Hexapod is here, and it looks like it's got shock troopers in it as well. And Rex has pushed back Buka to 3 plasma missile batteries, plus gunwalkers, plus the Eradicator loaded up with shock troopers will force Buka back, and Rex buys enough time. His drone ship, I think, got eliminated again. So that is the third drone ship, I think, now out on the field. He's only got 1 remaining. But at least, even though he's lost 2, he still does have 1. He does still have that gravity stabilizer as well. Buka backs up. Plus 3K per minute. He really needs a refinery on this field. I think he's aware of it. Yeah, he is long-distance harvesting from there. But all of these fields have regrown a decent amount. Rex is now out of cash. He's spent a lot of his bank, but by a lot, I mean he still has 7K float. That is still a lot of cash, but at least he is down from like the 24K that he was at a couple of minutes ago. Area mind control comes in, but the Prodigy will pay the ultimate price there. A couple of the Corruptors going down. It looks like 1, maybe 2 of them got eliminated in that maneuver. And Rex not using a lot of one-clicks. We're not seeing Emperor's Wrath get dropped or anything like that. Overlord's Wrath get dropped or anything like that. 3 engineers to the front line for Buka, reclaiming some of these tripods. All of them Rex's tripods. So that's a discount on those tripods. Reclaiming them from the front line, and Rex is back up to the multi-MCV life. So having the double or triple plasma missile battery drop is definitely nice. It is definitely a useful way to deal with that. Blink forward by the Prodigy. Can he bring some gunwalkers forward? Only 1 of them, and 1 gunwalker is not nearly enough DPS to gun down that Prodigy quickly, so that Prodigy should be able to escape. Should. Gunwalker won't be getting the kill. He stops to blink, and he almost pays the price for it. Whoa! And the Buzzer Swarm support power gets called in. That 1 Buzzer Squad going heroic. Oh, don't just hang out in the Devastator warship range. You got the kill. Now run away. Harvester's going for the long-distance mine. And Rex, he might be able to take this field away from Buka. Buka, his air army is still extremely powerful, but the problem with that last fight was that he lost so much of his ground support. Prodigy gets sniped again. Rex cannot keep Prodigies alive. Rex's Prodigies die so often and so quickly. Meanwhile, Buka, he just escapes with his Prodigy so often. He gets so much more from every Prodigy than Rex does. Rex, and only 3K bank. Such a small amount. Just a teeny tiny 3K bank. Rex. Huge bank, but he's almost spent it all. He's up 30K in total resources gathered. And I'm pretty sure they both have Prodigies rebuilt at this point, so I'm not sure that there is very much threat to anything. Devastator warship is a little bit too far forward, so it will be blasted out of existence. And there's going to be the Prodigy heading back or heading forward. He will grab the MCV, and he does not get away with it, but he does sacrifice himself for that MCV. It does mean that this Eradicator Hexapod can't blink away. At a moment's notice, he can't get out of there. Area mind control comes in. Tripod does get eliminated because of it. 1-2 Corruptors as well also go down, and the EMP lands, but the Buzzer Swarm comes in. The return fire always seems to land for Buka. He almost never takes damage without something happening in return. Phase will save that Eradicator Hexapod. It's going to be Colt. It's going to be Ravagers coming in from Rex on the north side of this engagement. 1 tripod goes over to the side of Rex, but it gets returned almost immediately to Buka, and this Eradicator is slow in that field. It came in for both sides. This is the one support power that both sides have been very consistent about using. Gunwalkers get called in. Overlord's Wrath lands as well on both sides of the fight. Gunwalkers going down. The fight is for the sky, and Rex has been spending his money on Gunwalkers. An endless army of Gunwalkers, it feels like, and still they're being slaughtered by the dozens as the tripods step forward for Rex. The ground army seems to be under the control of Rex, but Buka controls the skies. Only 2 planetary assault carriers are left, and the Eradicator Hexpod, phased for Buka, is going to be getting pushed back. The last of the packs will go down. The Gunwalkers win that fight. 3 Gunwalkers remaining. Only 1 has any decent amount of health. And another MCV cap and sell-off there by Buka. I've lost count of how many times these guys have traded MCVs back. The Eradicator Hexpod is no longer phased, so it's finally a part of the ground fight once again for Buka. Prodigy's coming in. There's the blink on top of the Prodigy. Goes for the crush. And what a way to save your MCV if you're Buka. He does still have the gravity stabilizer, so he potentially could have rebuilt, and he's got 12K in the bank. And after all that is said and done, it is devastation on both sides from both players. They have so little going on, but Buka has won out with a couple of successful mine caps, with an engineer teleported to the front line, 2 engineers teleported to the front line, and the tripods get captured by Buka. The Eradicator Hexpod is alive for Buka, and little is alive for Rex. I thought Rex was going to be able to do it. His endless Gunwalkers seemed like they were going to be able to swing the fight into his favor, but that Eradicator being phased took it out of the fight for long enough that it survived, and then it was able to kind of swing back in at the end and clean everything up. Tripod gets teleported in, Tripod gets killed off, and I actually don't know what that was. I thought that was intentional by Buka. I thought Buka teleported, like, mind controlled a Tripod and then teleported it. I'm not actually sure, because I thought he wanted the husk. But I don't know what actually just happened. Tripod husk goes down, so it kind of doesn't matter anyways. And now the Devastator warship will get a couple of shots off at the Prodigy. Area mind control perfectly done there by Buka, and he gets the tag on that Prodigy. He gets the kill on the Prodigy, and area mind control of a buzzer swarm in the nick of time, and then teleports it away. Are you kidding me? And Buka, who saves his own Prodigy, kills the Prodigy of his opponent, and only now have the buzzers returned to Rex's control. What an incredible move there by Buka. That was a perfect execution of something that we just don't see very often. The plays and counterplays from both of these players, so on top of their game in this match. And well, that goes down. So he loses the stasis. If Buka wants to get another Prodigy, he is going to have to rebuild that. He's spent his bank. Both of these players spending and rebuilding their bank so many times. Pack does drive away that Eradicator, and this Devastator warship will go down. A little bit unfortunate for Buka that he didn't get more value out of that, but, you know, at any rate, he did get something out of it, and he did force his opponent to kill off that unit. Rex, drawing a 0 in a lot of ways, but he has rebuilt a bit of that bank. So if this game goes on longer, he will have enough time to spend that bank and turn it into an army. Buka does have the advantage. Oh, nice grab of that buzzer squad. I didn't even see it there, moving through the field. Wormhole grabs, he doesn't grab the harvesters. Just gets the sell-off of that refinery. And this is one advantage of having the Overlord's Wrath dumped on your side of the map. Return fire? Okay, no. That is just the original wormhole there. Buka has reformed his front line. Tripod husks reclaimed with engineers. Packs rebuilt slowly over time. Buka has put pretty much all of his income into this fight, and he does still have harvesters. He does still have refineries for after this, but it is going to be a hard fight regardless. That is a fully heroic Eradicator Hexapod on the front line. Rex is going to be fighting for his survival here, as the Prodigy runs to the front line and gets just annihilated. I don't know why Buka just did that, but he handed over that buzzer or whatever was under his control, and Rex will tap out. No army left to fight. Nothing here to stop Buka in this game. And the Traveler Mirror goes to Buka. Rex not able to hold on in the late game. And if you go to work in the GDI Logistics Center, this is the view out of your window, because welcome to Small Town USA and welcome to the Marked of Kane mirror matchup between these two. We have had some very short games in both of these quarterfinals series that we're taking a look at. We've had some good games as well. Futurama versus Eclipse, the decider of who gets to go into the semifinals. Game number 5 will decide which one of these two steps forward into the next round of the mirror-only tournament. And I don't know where this game will come in the lineup, but regardless, we are going to be taking a look at the semis and the finals in their entirety. So those ones, we won't just skip games if they're boring. We will go through the whole story of how the players go through and win that event, whoever it ends up being. Could be one of these guys. Could be Futurama or Eclipse. Won't be both of them, but could be one of them for sure. I mean, they're both strong players, and it feels like Eclipse is having a really good showing today. That could just be because he's up against Futurama, and once he goes up against, say, Rex or Buka or someone else, maybe Futurama was like the perfect opponent for Eclipse, and maybe once Eclipse goes against someone else, it'll be not quite so close. But we'll see. Eclipse seems like he's in good form, so hopefully he has a good showing here. Bikes moving through the middle of the map for Eclipse. He went that double war factory. It is not matched by Futurama. Instead, Futurama goes for the tier 2. He gets that operations center, and he is not getting dozer blades, so he's not going for an upgrade. He wanted it for the power plants, and he wanted it for something else, perhaps. Either that or he forgot that he was playing Marked of Kane, and he didn't realize that he didn't have Black Hand squads. But anyways, it is going to be the expansion in the bottom right for Futurama and the expansion in the top left for Eclipse. So they have both decided. Let's split the map nice and even. And since this is a map made by the game developers, it only has 2 Tiberium fields, so you can end up in a situation where you run out of cash kind of early in this game, and Tib Troopers versus Tib Troopers, barely Futurama will win that fight, a close one, but he actually wins it, and basically all of his Tib Troopers survive, so he does still have 5 out of the 6 squad members, which is good for him. That certainly is nice to have. And Futurama going for that southern expansion, Eclipse going for the northern expansion, and this double war factory before the expand hasn't really paid off. Eclipse goes for that, and we're not seeing aggressive vehicle attacks on the other side of the map. Eclipse probably has a unit advantage. He probably has more vehicles than his opponent, but they're on his side of the map. He does have a dozer blade advantage, so that is a distinct advantage. However, avatars are already out for Futurama. He has got that part of the game on lockdown. Scorpions heading forward, and you know, these are Marked of Kane Scorps, so they don't get those laser capacitors. Instead, the upgrade is supercharged particle beams, but that does not affect Scorpions. Oh my gosh, if Scorpion tanks got laser capacitors and then into supercharged particle beams, that would be pretty insane damage output from Scorpions. But that would also be 2 tier 3 upgrades, so I feel like that would be justified if they had insane damage output. They would essentially be glass cannons, but I feel like glass cannon isn't even the right term. It's like glass nukes, because they just do so much damage, but they have so little health. But yeah, that would be great. So I don't know if someone wants to work on that. Make supercharged particle beam Scorpions. That's what I want to see. That's my goal. Supercharged particle beam Scorpions. Does it make any sense? No, it doesn't. I'm not saying it makes sense. I'm just saying I want to see Scorpions get laser capacitors and then supercharged particle beams, and it will be very expensive Scorpions, but totally worth it. Beam cannons are here. Beam cannons are good on their own, but also once they're low on health, or once you think that their utility is finished, then use that old recyclability from the avatar and get yourself some dual beam avatars. They do phenomenal damage, and if you manage to get them up to heroic status, they will melt anything and everything on the battlefield before them. So you can absolutely go crazy with those dual beam avatars, and no one will really stop you. Nothing, except for maybe a Redeemer, can really stop you. Dual beam avatar that's fully heroic is an army on its own. Truly a 1 mech army. How did Eclipse sneak a Tib Trooper squad that deep into enemy territory? And now he's just going to start attacking avatars that far onto enemy territory. I mean, he gets a really good scout of what is going on in Futurama's base, but that was just a bit bizarre. Obelisk is here. Obelisk ready to start popping tanks one by one, but Futurama is maybe just going to push into the main base of Eclipse, and we are going to have a base trade situation where they both have their expansions and then they both lose their main bases. Vertigo Bombers coming in, trying to go for the perfect splash damage on these Scorpion tanks, and that air tower goes down basically immediately. So these Vertigos desperately need a place to land. Tier 3 getting targeted down, and hopefully Futurama does have a backup operations center down there. And if this Tier 3 goes down, that is going to be a cancel on the Redeemer as well. Bye-bye, Redeemer, as that gets eliminated, and the Tier 3 goes down right as Eclipse rolls out his own Redeemer onto the map. Futurama really needs to get that Tier 2 back up and running. He really needs to get that air tower out as well, because Vertigo Bombers in the right hands will make short work of a Redeemer. And that is something that Futurama cannot pass on, although the time may already have passed. We'll see if he's able to save these Vertigos or not. They are very low on health. And if you didn't know, one of the design choices of Kane's Wrath, Tib Wars, Red Alert 3, actually I think Zero Hour as well, is if a aircraft... Where was it? Oh, it was over here. Bottom right. Eclipse calls in the Catalyst Missile. If an aircraft is out of ammo and it has nowhere to land, so an air tower or a combat support airfield, then it will slowly lose health and burn out and die. I don't know what the first Command & Conquer game to implement that idea, which one it was, and yes, triple dual beam avatar, triple EMP'd dual beam avatar coming in here for Eclipse. Vertigo Bombers are here. 2 of them drop their bombs, and that significantly reduces the health of those avatars, but they are still dual beam, so they are still dual cool, and the EMP lands as well. The mine drop comes in. Magnetic mines going to be working away on the health of that Redeemer with the help of this Obelisk. obelisk from Eclipse. He's going to try and hold the line. Scorpion Tank's wrapping around the backside. Futurama is going to desperately hold the line. Eclipse comes in with Venoms, sniping engineers, sniping tip troopers, trying to clear out those mines, and the Redeemer is completely surrounded by avatars on one side, Scorpions on the other, but the obelisk saves the Redeemer, and he gets the last avatar. There are so many husks here. Whoever claims those husks will get the win. We'll have a massive army, but it's going to be Shredder turrets on the front line sniping these saboteurs, denying Futurama from the cap of those husks. He's so close to them, and he just can't get them. The Redeemer is so close to death, and the Scorpions just can't do it. They can't finish the job, and the husks now being claimed by Eclipse, and Futurama taps out. He couldn't get the husks, and he couldn't get the win. Eclipse makes it into the semifinal. Not what I expected to see, but I am glad to see an upset here in Mirrors Only. So definitely tune in for the semifinals of the Mirrors Only tournament. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Big thanks to Gwaspari for putting this event on and all of the players for participating. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And this is Sybert signing out.